Welcome to the Pretty and Profiting Show, your favorite show for branding, beauty, business, and the truth of how to be a boss lady and build your empire. Pause the show right now and grab your free gift at profitablepersonalbrand.com/hot. It's a workbook and audio training on 5 high-performing strategies to dominate your market and add an extra $1,000 to $10,000 to your bottom line. And now, your host. She's a fierce, creative freaking genius who is known by many as Nikki Hustle. Nicole K. Lundy.
It's your host, Nicole K. Lundy, for another fabulous episode on the Pretty and Profiting Show. And today, we're talking about avoiding mediocrity. Avoiding mediocrity. Now, it's super hard to avoid this. It's everywhere. Every single place. You turn on the TV, you go to the grocery store, you have a random conversation with somebody on the train or the bus or the plane or the airport. Mediocrity is everywhere. And I talk to a lot of boss women. I talk to my clients, of course, and I get a sense that we go into this protective bubble of solitude so that we're not affected by mediocrity. It's so easy to abide by the norm that it's disgusting. You know, we're told we should be happy with this job or that job. I remember when I was leaving Dow Jones, very dramatically, when I was actually working there and totally unhappy, I was told I should be happy. You're doing big things. You have a car, you have a condo, you have this, you have that. I was miserable. But I felt weird not being happy because this was the norm. And I was doing a little higher on the scale of what was norm for that age. I was 23, 24 at the time. We're conditioned to be content with average outcomes. I was basically told indirectly and directly that I should be content with this job. I should be content doing this, doing that, and I wasn't. So it was super scary because I wasn't super supported by a lot of people, like my friends, some family. My parents were always supportive, and my honey bun, Andre, was always supportive of it, although they might have been skeptical, still supportive. And it took a lot of guts and courage to still step out the norm. So if you feel like you're living in mediocrity by default, and you don't know exactly what to do to break out, because when you do break out, it's going to be a huge deal. It's going to ruffle a lot of feathers. It may cause a little discomfort in your household, and you need a plan of action around it. I'm going to tell you why in this episode you should avoid mediocrity at all costs. And I want to give you in this episode a few ways to help you break away from this conditioning. Look, we all go through this, and it's just part of society. From around, like when you were born to about the age of 5 to 8, the world was your oyster. But around the ages of 5 to 8, people started giving you limiting thoughts and beliefs, and the world wasn't as cool anymore. And then that trickles into adulthood. That trickles into how you approach your business, how you build your empire. It affects every single thing. So to break away from mediocrity, you need to always think like those you admire. We all have people we look up to. Who's your hero? Who's your shero? Think about what they would do if they were in their position. So it's sort of a play on what would Jesus do? What would your hero, what would your shero do? What would they do in this situation? If you admire them, more than likely they wouldn't settle for what you're settling at now. And if that's the case, you need to do something about it. Would they stay miserable working an $80,000 a year job but crying each way to work? That was my reality, but it wasn't the reality of people I admired. And I had to do something about it. Working at McDonald's till 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. I did that in college. It was not fun. But I had coworkers, that was their career. It was being mediocre for me, and I couldn't do it. The people that I admired were so strong in my head. And the number one person I thought of was my mom. My mom came from crazy conditions growing up, and she didn't settle for it. I come from a legacy of women who did not settle, who were not mediocre. So I felt if I didn't do it for myself, I needed to do it for them. I needed to do it to keep the legacy going. So when I have my daughter in the future, I wasn't the person that broke the chain. The legacy will continue. So forget everything that is holding you back from accomplishing your dreams. It's scary, I know. Think about the people you admire. Follow their footsteps. It will set you free. Another tip for avoiding mediocrity at all costs is you want to forget money. Money is important, yes, I know, and money is a tool, but money cannot be your end goal. Money cannot be your end goal. It's not enough. It's not a strong enough purpose. It's not a big enough why for it to be your end goal. Look, I came from the finance world. I witnessed 21-year-olds, 22-year-olds pulling in, a $50,000 bonus check, making, $250,000, living in, penthouses. Life was super fast, super fun, but guess what? They were burnt out. Their entire youth was spent being miserable. And by the time they realized that this is not what they can do for the next 20 to 30 years, they were already being shipped off to business school to continue because it's what they were supposed to do. Now they're in the cycle of being married, of having kids. And it gets harder and harder because they're digging themselves deeper and deeper and deeper. So focus on your passion. Always focus on your passion. Respect the gestation period. When you are in the zone of loving what you do, the money will come tenfold. Trust me on this. Avoiding mediocrity, another tip. You want to forget fear. Listen, I used to live by this motto for most of my teen years and a lot of my 20s that I refuse to fail. And, it sounded fine and dandy, and this is what it set me up for. It set me up for when I did fail, I hit it because I lived by this motto. Listen, failing is part of the process. Failing is part of making shit happen. Many of us are scared to fail. I know. We don't believe, we have what it takes. Doubt starts to creep in. Then we get, the opinions of others who think our dreams are too big, whatnot. Listen, failure is just another opportunity to try again. If you look at the world's most successful people, they have a ton of failures. The difference is they didn't stop. They didn't quit. They kept going. They failed and they failed forward. They didn't fail and that was it. So embrace failure because listen, success will find you. Success is for the tenacious. And if you let fear and failure stop you, you'll never get to experience it. Avoiding mediocrity. You want to get rid of the toxic relationships in your life. This is a huge thing for people because sometimes those toxic relationships are with our partners, or it's with our parents or siblings or grandparents. Sometimes it's our best friends that we've been in a relationship with since childhood. You have to protect your goals. You have to protect your dreams. You have to protect your freedom. You have to protect your passion. Have to. You're the only one that's going to protect it. It's nobody else's responsibility. So you need to get rid of the toxic relationships in your life. This is a big topic today. We're going to take a quick break and we're going to come back and we're going to finish this conversation on avoiding mediocrity. We'll be right back. Join the Pretty and Profiting Posse if you are a real deal woman entrepreneur creating wealth and making a global impact with your business. Represent yourself. Head on over to prettyandprofiting.com and get your merchandise. Profit in style. And we are back. So in today's episode, we're talking about avoiding mediocrity at all costs. It's so important. It's so important for being successful. It's so important for being a small business CEO. It's so important for being an entrepreneur. It's so important for being a woman in business. It's so important for being a powerful human being. So let's dive right back in. You have to not get into that place of complacency. Listen, we are creatures of habit. We love to be in our comfort zone. I get it. It's understandable. And I know you've heard this quote that everything is outside of our comfort zone. But look, I am a witness. It really is. It sounds cliche. I get it. But if you've hit a plateau, if you're stagnant, if you know deep down you're not really going after your dreams as you tell this story to your friends at a dinner party, if you know you're not really going as hard as that story you're telling, you're in the complacency circle. You need to get out ASAP. The last tip I have for you today for avoiding mediocrity is you can't get hung up on the word no, man. Like, listen, no is part of the journey. No is part of life. Don't get offended. Do not get up all in your feelings. So when people tell you no, you're just getting closer to the yes. And on the flip side, you want to say yes more. Saying yes will get you out of your bubble. It will get you into living life on the edge as it's supposed to be. Crazy things will start happening. You will start meeting cool new people. You'll have amazing new experiences. You'll have adventures you couldn't think of because you started saying yes. So start saying yes to yourself more and don't care about people saying no to you. It's part of life. It's part of being great. It's part of being extraordinary. It's a part of being pretty, and it's a part of being profiting. That's it for today's episode. This is your host, Nicole K. Lundy. I will talk to you soon. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Pretty and Profiting. Want to learn more about me and what I do? Head on over to profitablepersonalbrand.com. Also, I have a super juicy giveaway for one lucky show subscriber. If you want to enter, you just have to do 2 simple things. 1, subscribe to the show. 2, leave a review on iTunes or Stitcher, and you'll be entered into this month's $25 Sephora gift card giveaway. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, stay pretty and stack those profits.